Story 1. Living without roommates feels good. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, like walking around naked. Story 2. Good chocolate. Sure, I could buy a Hershey's bar or a box of pot of gold for a lot cheaper, but I would rather pay a little more at the little chocolate shop for the handmade stuff because it tastes so much better. Story 3. Lawn service. I value my weekends with family and friends. Mowing my grass for 2 hours every weekend is not worth $40 in my opinion. Story 4. Air conditioning. I grew up without air conditioning in the hot desert. Now that I have my own place and pay the utilities, I refuse to let it be hot inside. My partner used to argue with me about it because he felt it was a waste of money, but I argued that I didn't go through my childhood and get to a place where I can pay my own bills just to go back to no air conditioning. He learned that it was not a hill to die on. I just get such awful sleep if I'm even slightly too warm. I can deal with being in the heat while I'm working and such. But my sleep? I want to cozy up in blankets with cold air surrounding me and the ability to add or remove layers as much as I want. Story 5. I do my own laundry, except I send out sheets, pillowcases, and comforters for professional cleaning. I like the crispy, iron sheets tightly folded into rectangles and stacked on a shelf, in a way I will never duplicate. Story 6. When booking a vacation, stick to the same sleeping setup you have at home. Parents in one bed in a separate room, each child in their own bed. Do not cram 5 people into 2 queen beds and a pull-out where every snore, noise, and bathroom trip wakes the whole group multiple times a night. Avoid inflatables and couch sharing. Yes, it costs more, but you have already committed to the trip, and it is going to be expensive. For an extra $400, at least make sure everyone sleeps. Parents get a door that locks, children get rest, and the whole trip runs smoother with less drama. Story 7. Regularly dining out these days with rising food costs can be quite expensive even at casual restaurants. For an average person with a modest income like myself, I consider it a luxury. That said, trying new restaurants and returning to old favorites brings me a lot of joy. It can offer a sense of escapism in some instances or a nice community feel in others. Financially, it is probably not wise to spend as much as I do on dining out, but it is a luxury I refuse to give up. Story 8. Buying good vanilla and chocolate for my baking. I understand the difference. The same applies to coffee and specific varieties of mango. Story 9. My nails. I feel like one day it will come to an end, but I am frugal everywhere else. I do not dye my hair and get haircuts 2 times a year. This is what I do that makes me feel pretty and put together. It is an extension of my style. Story 10. A mechanical watch. It does not have to be very expensive, but it will cost more than a digital Casio, which would work just fine. I want a watch on my wrist, not a computer pretending to be a watch. Story 11. Getting groceries delivered. I really hate grocery shopping, and having them show up is worth the cost. Story 12. Having pets is technically a luxury. My cat is my baby girl, and I would sooner give up my life than give her up. Story 13. I purchase a new car every 4 years. I drive about 20,000 miles per year and trade it in for a new one. I pay cash for the balance. I like the new car look and don't want to worry about repairs. My cars always look brand new because I enjoy washing them several times a week if it rains and waxing them every month. Up until 15 years ago, when I retired at age 59, I purchased 2-year-old cars and kept them until the wheels fell off. Now that I have the time and money to drive a shiny new car, I am taking full advantage of it. Story 14. Living in a good neighborhood and closer to the city, I know it is more expensive, but being close to the best restaurants, stores, hospitals, and coffee shops, I will pay extra for that. It might be smaller, but location is important. Story 15. My parents keep telling me to move back in with them to save money. So do my girlfriend's parents. We are 26 years old and moved out at 18. We have a nice house and I make good money. I will pay whatever it costs to keep our lives separate from our parents. Story 16. My nails are being overlaid. It is not too pricey, but it is the only time in my life when nobody needs me to do something. I do not even like going with my friend who uses the same place. I just like to go alone, tell them my unique art idea, let them experiment on it, and relax while everything gets fixed. It is fun sometimes when we all try to figure out my random idea on nails. Tomorrow's set will be in homage to these paintings a resident at my old job gave me, which are above my altar. Story 17. Pole dancing as a hobby can be very expensive, but I do not care. It makes life worth living and helps me heal a lot of trauma I have experienced. It makes me feel alive in my own skin. The weeks when I cannot attend a class, the burdens and pain of life feel especially heavy, and my depression begins to return. Story 18. Uber Eats. It is not something I will use often, maybe just once when I get paid, but nothing makes my day off better than food delivered to my door while I am relaxing. Story 19. Uber in a city with good public transportation. I don't go out often, and my anxiety is already acting up by the time I leave the house. Knowing I'm being dropped off point to point takes a huge weight off. I cancel a lot fewer outings knowing I have a comfortable and reliable way to and from. Story 20. YouTube Premium. Sure, I can watch it on my laptop with an ad blocker, but I prefer streaming random crafting channels while sewing, so I would much rather use my television. Plus, I can entertain my cat with gerbil videos when she is being difficult, without getting interrupted by ads every 3 seconds. I regularly rotate through my other subscriptions to avoid spending too much each month, but this one and Spotify Premium always stay active. The attention deficit hyperactivity disorder brain demands quick dopamine, so I have accepted that I will be paying for these two services indefinitely. Story 21. Mobile games and Steam games I could get for cheaper if I wait, but I like to play if I am interested in one. Story 22. Daily disposable contact lenses. Probably cheaper to use monthly lenses or switch to glasses. Daily lenses are more convenient and better for your eye health compared to weekly or monthly lenses. Story 23. Traveling home for holidays and other significant occasions. I know quite a few people who skip these events when money is tight, but I am not that way. Time with people I care about is irreplaceable. I do not care what it costs. I will be there. Story 24. Mine is unpopular, but it's tasting menus. I drive an old car, spend next to nothing on the salon, manicure, pedicure, makeup, and clothes, and make a decent salary. So all the money I normally would spend on that temporary stuff goes to fun, delicious, temporary tasting menus. I love it. Story 25. Having a bath in the bathtub every single morning. For ecological reasons, I use just half of the water and do not fill it up, but the feeling of immersing myself in hot water with my book for 15 minutes starts my day like nothing else. I am ready to get up early as needed just to have it. Story 26. I want a robot to clean the whole house, not just the floors. I bought a robot vacuum in hopes that the money will be used to give the next version arms and legs. Story 27. I have close to 10 streaming services on my television, but I only watch 2 or 3 of them regularly. I definitely need to reduce the number and save money, but I am reluctant to do so. Story 28. Good quality matcha. I do not like coffee. I drink only Yorkshire tea, but my one luxury drink is good quality matcha powder from Japan. Story 29. Weirdly, my luxury costs less. Pirated movies require payment for streaming, and more often than not, they have lower quality playback. I have seen many people struggle to get Netflix to work in 4K on their new expensive personal computers. I have no such trouble on my Plex player. Story 30. Having a fun car is something that many people who are not car enthusiasts often cannot understand. However, having your own private space that can also get your heart racing is amazing mental therapy and much better than being dependent on drugs. Story 31. The only luxury I have that does not make financial sense, and I also will not give up, is owning nice cars. I scaled back a little from German luxury brands on my most recent purchase by getting a Ram Limited. However, I am a car enthusiast and will always invest money in cars. Story 32. Having someone come once a month or so to clean my house. I technically should not spend the money, but there is no way I can keep up with my place when I work so much. Story 33. My monthly Brazilian sugar waxing is a ritual for me at this point. I feel so good afterward. It is really my only non-negotiable when it comes to budgeting, and there is nothing wrong with having hair. Story 34. Any and all of my devices with organic light-emitting diode screens, including phone, tablet, watch, personal computer monitor, and television. I love organic light-emitting diode screens, and I want every single screen in my household to be organic light-emitting diode. Burn-in be damned. Story 35. Air conditioner. A modern-day miracle. Mr. Zip Zap Man, I would gladly pay whatever you charge to keep my house cold. Story 36. Having a car feels like the last bastion of freedom for me in this day and age, with a family and responsibilities to take care of. One of the best meditations for me is to pack up the fishing gear in the evening, hop in the car, go looking for new fishing spots in the countryside, and come home when everyone else is already asleep. Now, having an electric vehicle that charges with solar power in the summer makes me feel much better about these joyrides. The silence of the electric motors adds to the whole mini adventure when everyone else is asleep. Story 37. So many good ones on here, but the two that come to mind are A. My lawn guy who is a saint and worth every penny, and B. My bidet. I would give up many other things before these two. Story 38. A comfortable mattress with proper support for your body. It has a high upfront cost, but your body will thank you later. You only need to replace it every 8 to 10 years. Story 39. A fun automobile can be much more than a bland transportation pod. A fun automobile makes everyday errands enjoyable. I credit my automobile with keeping my gym routine alive. Story 40. I have a housekeeper. I am retired and in good health. I have no reason at all not to clean my own house other than that I do not want to. I went to university and then worked hard while raising a family. I am not spending any of my life changing sheets or scrubbing bathrooms. Not happening. Story 41. A couple of apps and subscriptions. Duolingo. I don't want to praise corporate with Duolingo, and I know they've made some recent changes that are pushing some people away. I don't disagree with leaving, but learning languages has greatly improved my self-image and makes it approachable to at least learn the basics. You won't get a job with the State Department, but you can do pretty well. YouTube Premium, no ads. No ads on an iPhone. You can download videos to watch offline, such as on a plane, which is a huge benefit. Spotify. YouTube Premium includes YouTube Music, which you can download for offline use. Spotify allows downloads to an Apple Watch. YouTube Music does not. Being able to go for a run or walk without my phone while having music and podcasts downloaded is a game changer. Story 42. Film photography has helped me remain sober. I have spent thousands on cameras, films, filters, and home development equipment. Keeps my mind in a good place. Story 43. I scrolled down about 100 comments, and none specifically mention hobbies and entertainment in general. Most hobbies have a financial cost. Strictly looking at it financially, most hobbies do not make sense. They are a financial drain, and often purchases are made on impulse for something that is not a real necessity. The same can be said of much entertainment, such as attending sporting events, shows, or going out to dinner. Of course, many of these activities provide a return in the form of social interaction and support mental health. However, most people have a hobby or form of entertainment that is not truly necessary. Story 44. My car. Many people consider it flashy and fancy, but it is a Toyota GR86. It is definitely sporty, but I did not buy the car to show off. I bought it because it rides like a go-kart, and I love my night drives and road trips. A simple pleasure in my life. Story 45. Cigars. It is my time alone. I am an introvert, and I just light up a cigar and watch a show after a hard day at work. It helps soothe me. Story 46. YouTube Premium is unusable without it, and YouTube Music is a decent streaming service for something that is included. Story 47. I have a few. Minimum 3-ply toilet paper. I replace my iPhone every year. The way I see it, it is the device I use the most all day, every day, all year. Heating when I need it. Story 48. Water flavoring. Like the Mio Squirt products. I prefer the liquid orange Kool-Aid flavoring, but sometimes the Great Value powdered iced tea is good too. Lately, I have been using pomegranate crystal light, which is delicious. Story 49. Someone else is mowing my lawn and taking care of my mulch beds. The workers do it when needed and send me a payment request. I think about it zero, and it is affordable for what it is. Story 50. Shopping at the expensive local family-owned grocer instead of driving 30 minutes to Walmart. It doesn't sound like much, but my finances are almost paycheck to paycheck. I have a little wiggle room, but my entire 15 years of savings could be wiped out by one minor medical bill or a trip to the mechanic. That said, I budget my grocery bill for the more expensive place because I dislike driving that much. The traffic and roads around here are dangerous. I'd rather save money elsewhere than drive for more reasonably priced groceries. Story 51. Quality milk and bread. No matter our budget, I always prioritize good quality milk and bread. These are the two things you can consistently get kids to eat, so I want to ensure they are the best quality. Story 52. Bath bombs. It is my one little weekly ritual to pamper myself. Do I care that they cost about $6.50 each now? No, not really. Story 53. Getting my house professionally cleaned. I have done it. I know how to do it. I really hate it, and unless I am starving, I am always going to pay someone to do it instead. Story 54. Raw dog food is expensive compared to kibble, but not having a house full of dog odors every day is quite beneficial. Story 55. My gaming personal computer. Short of giving up my house, I would probably give up my phone and use a basic phone instead before I give up my gaming personal computer. Story 56. Wellness. When I go for a spa day, I do a little workout in a gym, sauna session, long massage, pool time, sauna, jacuzzi, pool. It's my vice. Story 57. Fishing. I probably have $150,000 invested in a tow vehicle, boat, and gear. It makes no financial sense, but I cannot imagine life without fishing. Story 58. Grocery delivery. When I used to do it myself, it felt like 5 separate chores. Going to the store, shopping for food, getting food from the car to the house, putting everything away, actually cooking. Now I pay someone to do it. Yes, I could save money by doing it myself, but I prefer delivery. Story 59. Buying zero water filters. Sure, I could just drink hard tap water with perfluoral kill substances on it, but I would rather not. Story 60. Suits. When you were young, you think suits are uncomfortable, itchy, and make you feel hot and trapped. Good suits that actually fit and are made of high-quality, breathable materials are cool and the most comfortable clothes I own. Growing up truly is realizing that trousers, also known as slacks, are better than jeans. Story 61. Food delivery is the only luxury I spend money on. I work nights, and sometimes I crave a burger or something similar. I would have to wait for a few hours for restaurants to open, and sometimes I just want to go home and stay there without having to go back out. I have been cutting back a lot, though. Story 62. Good toilet paper. I am not going broke over Charmin Ultra Soft, but I absolutely refuse to live like a medieval peasant just to save $3 a month. Story 63. I get a massage once a month. I really should do more to stretch out my neck and shoulders myself, but I feel like they get stiff in ways I couldn't on my own. If things get tight, I would give it up, but I would be sad about it. Story 64. Hiring a cleaning service twice a month. Feels so nice coming home to a clean house. They do a better job than I could, and I do not have to stress about it. Story 65. The items I use daily need to be high quality, so I invest in products such as smartphone, computer, and screen. I usually upgrade piece by piece and sell the old parts after 2 to 3 years when the warranty expires. Story 66. Dentist and dental care. They do not call teeth luxury bones for no reason. Dental insurance only covers a small portion. I will pay for replacement crowns and implants because I do not want a jaw with no bone when I am older. Story 67. Farm-raised beef is twice the price, but I feel better when I can see the steer, and they are happy walking around the pasture. Story 68. Caffeine. I have reduced my costs as much as I am willing. I will sacrifice nearly every comfort to satisfy that addiction. Story 69. House cleaner, laundry service for work clothing, ordering groceries every week. Just about anything I can pay someone to do for me that gives me more time and peace. I realize that these tasks take too much time from my day. Other people can do them better and I can afford it. Story 70. I agree with the person below me, not living with roommates. I worked very hard to maintain my life this way and do not regret it at all. I also have my hair done at a hair salon. I have been graying since I was 24, and my hair grows very quickly. I just get a tint on the roots. Story 71. Therapy. I have reduced my appointments to one per month after years of attending weekly sessions. However, I need to allocate that money towards other priorities. Story 72. A sporty car. Nothing special, a 12-year-old 3-liter BMW. Costs quite a bit to maintain, and since I live in a large European city, I use it 2 to 3 times a week. I love being able to drive anytime, anywhere, and enjoy the drive ahead. I literally saved it from the junkyard, repaired it, and drove it across more than 5 countries, so it holds sentimental value for me. Story 73. Where I live and how I live, it does not really make sense for me to own a car. However, I like cars and driving. For the occasions when I do use a car, it is really nice to have. Story 74. Grooming the dog. She does not like it. I do not like it. It hurts my back to bend over long enough to bathe her. She despises having her nails clipped. I pay someone else to do it. Story 75. Homeless right now, and I am still hanging on to my gaming personal computer. I will not let go of it. I could sell it for cash, maybe get a cheap apartment from selling it or something, but it is mine and I will return to RimWorld someday. It is my motivation. Story 76. My facial routine involves spending hundreds of dollars on products. It is my way of self-care and therapy. Story 77. YouTube television keeps increasing in price, but I need traditional television. I cannot use full streaming services like Netflix and HBO Max. I want to scroll through the channels and pick a random show in the middle. Story 78. Financial sense is a trap. Live your life like a dozen cheesy love songs, not like the Wall Street Journal. Story 79. Concerts. I love music, and being at a concert or music festival makes me feel alive. I love the dancing, seeing my favorite artists, and singing along with others. It gives me something to look forward to. Shows have become more expensive over the years, but if one of my favorite artists is on tour or an upcoming artist who is making a name, I will be there. Story 80. Plumbing probably indirectly harms half the biodiversity in Africa. Mining the copper, creating the plastic, obtaining the lead for the solder, heating the water, moving waste into a massive water reclamation plant, sourcing the water initially, creating the artificial pigment for the paint on the boiler, packaging to ship all the commodities around the planet, the human cost to develop all this, and the potential ecological disaster of holding the weight of a water reservoir. I am not giving up plumbing. Story 81. Decent coffee. I can get just as much caffeine from cheaper coffee or even tea, but I much prefer some whole bean coffee from an interesting place. I do try to get fair trade whenever possible. It is a great example of a first world luxury harvested from the global south. Story 82. My hobbies are non-negotiable. I have very little time and money to do things I enjoy, but I will be damned if I do not use that little time and money to still do them. Story 83. Golf is my one vice. It costs me probably $80,000 per year. I belong to 2 private country clubs because I refuse to play public golf. Story 84. Swiss watches. High-end home theater equipment. Performance parts for my truck. Flying first class. Your mom. Story 85. DoorDash. I use it less than once a week, but if you have DashPass and order once a month, it pays for itself. I have a chronic illness and sometimes I am too fatigued to cook, or I get caught up with work and order something to pick up. Story 86. $100 a month for full self-driving on my 2021 Model Y. When I'm tired and barely awake and have an hour drive to work, being able to tell my car, bring me to work, and it takes me from my driveway to my parking spot at the office is a luxury I will absolutely continue to pay for, even though I obviously could drive to work myself. It's like having a personal chauffeur. Full self-driving version 12.6.4. Story 87. Pedicures. Sure, I can paint my own nails, but it's the one small luxury thing I do for myself once every other month. Story 88. Nice shoes. I could get a fine pair of shoes for $40, but I will always prefer to get some nicer shoes. Story 89. New car over used car. I know initial depreciation on a new car is harsh, but I would prefer to know how my daily driver has been maintained and used. Story 90. Maintenance on my old, cool, and fast luxury sports car is worth the upkeep compared to a newer non-player character slow and boring commuter car. Story 91. My cleaning lady. I have 4 children and 2 dogs. She comes every 2 weeks. She is a lifesaver for my sanity. Story 92. My exercise routine is expensive. I pay a trainer for small group sessions and I attend Pure Barre. I feel good during these classes, I look good as a result, and to me that is worth the money. I could save a lot of money by going to a gym and working out on my own, but I enjoy turning my brain off and having someone guide me in working all of the muscle groups. Story 93. Business class upgrades. I hate being at the back of the plane, but with a few exceptions, the airlines do everything they can to justify the expense with the service you receive. Story 94. I will not settle for store-brand ketchup or peanut butter. It is Heinz ketchup and preferably Jif peanut butter, even though they are twice as much. Story 95. My guns. I could probably sell them for a good amount of money in the financial difficult situation I am in at the moment, but I just enjoy shooting them too much to give them up. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.